I've been at Square for about 2.5 years. I'm an iOS engineer. I've worked on all of our products across the board for iOS. If you use our products, you can see why I'm here. They're just made for a good user experience, and that's something I love. I came from Apple before this. So it's a great company. We're always hiring if anybody's interested. We have a couple of Squares throughout the audience you can talk to. But most I want to welcome you guys. Thank you for coming. I'm always happy to answer questions after the fact, and I'll pass it off to Ryan.
First, I'm just going to go over some of the features in Confluence we've released over the last 4 months. A lot of exciting stuff has come out. And then I'll talk about some upcoming features. So we have a release at the end of September, and there's a couple of features I want to talk about that'll be coming out in the next month. And then I'll tell you 5 things you need to know about team calendars if you're not familiar with what it is and how it works. And lastly, I'll give you a sneak peek of a new product we have coming out in the Confluence family, a beta later this year, and it'll be coming out at the beginning of next year. So to start, how many people are familiar with Confluence Blueprints? Okay, only a couple of you. So Confluence Blueprints are something we released in Confluence 5.1 at the end of March earlier this year, and it's our solution to the blank page problem. So you have a lot of new users or inexperienced users, and they can get intimidated by Confluence because they basically don't know what to use it for, how to create content within the editor, and also where to store it inside Confluence. It's some intimidating problems that we're solving with Blueprints. And so throughout, in 5.1, we launched with a meeting notes blueprint. And essentially what it does is help you share an agenda, capture meeting notes, and assign some action items after your meeting in kind of one seamless process. We also launched with the file list blueprint, which helps you share files and basically takes existing functionality in Confluence, the attachments macro, puts it on a page for you, and kind of encourages you to drag and drop files onto the attachments macro so you can create a file list with a Confluence page. It's stuff that's you've been able to do with Confluence. We just make it easier for you. And lastly, the product requirements blueprint, which is a simplified way to define, share, and track your product requirements. But last month we launched with the decisions blueprint, and this is kind of a blueprint's going to be a big theme for us, in the coming months as we add more features to Confluence. And the decisions blueprint is a way to make big group decisions that are really hard without the conference rooms and without long email threads. We want to help people make decisions asynchronously. And that's what the decisions blueprint does. So you define your stakeholders, who needs to make the decision, and then we encourage discussion so people can come in and chime in on the page, and it makes it a lot easier to make the decision. And the key point to it all is, that decision isn't necessarily lost in your conference room or in your email thread. It's in Confluence where you can search for it later. So your decision's always recorded along with all the collective knowledge that you discuss with your team. And it's searchable and findable later. So, months down the track, you're like, why did we make that decision again? Well, you can look it up and you have a recorded version of actually why you made the decision you did. Another nice feature that has come out recently is Page Layouts 2.0. Do many people use page layouts on their Confluence pages? We've got a couple of you. Okay, so Page Layouts was a way to provide a structure on a page, and I can't read that.
Talk a little louder.
Oh, talk a little louder.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So Page Layouts was a way to provide a structure to your page, and you got to pick one structure at a time. Page Layouts 2.0 allows you to add as many sections to the Confluence page as you can, but you get to select a different column layout for each one. So you can stack 3 column layouts on 2 column layouts and into an infinity. Provided the page doesn't break eventually, but we say you can put as many as you can on there. So it's just a nice way to structure your pages visually, and we're trying to provide a better and better WYSIWYG experience for people to create their content. So what you see is really what you get, and our goal eventually is to get rid of the section and column macros so that you can just make use of page layouts, and we're almost there. And here's another example. You have a 2 column layout stacked on top of each other on the left. And this is actually our project planning page for the marketing launch we did in Confluence 5.1 in March. And it's just making use of more page layouts. One thing we tried to fix in our latest release is unifying the insert JIRA experience. So I don't know how many of you are inserting JIRA issues into a Confluence page, but there's 2 ways to do it historically, and now we've made only one way. So if you went to the insert insert menu and selected JIRA. That was one way. The other was the JIRA issue macro. They're actually different. So we've unified those. The nice thing that's come out of it is if you're putting a list of JIRA issues and you type in your JQL, you put in your filter, you get a list of JIRA issues, you can actually display it in two different ways now. The first one is just a nice lozenge with the total issue count, kind of visual. The other way is in a table, and then you can define the parameters of your JIRA issues. So if you only want to show the issue key, summary, and issue due date, you can do just that. Question?
Turn caching off?
Not that I know of. You cannot turn caching off. Yeah, not that I know of. So that's kind of one of the benefits that unifying it, we've been able to improve that experience. This is a feature I use all the time, distraction-free editing. What it does is basically you click the button in the top right, it expands the editor and gives you more editing real estate. And I use it all the time when I have images or video in my page and I just want more real estate. That helps me. It's also really effective if you're projecting onto a screen in a meeting, so all your attendees can see exactly what you're editing. You kind of cut the page title and the Confluence header away. Combine that with going into full screen mode in your browser, and basically all you have is the editor that you're showing off in your meeting. It's a really kind of useful feature. Share pages with groups, another feature we just added. I don't know how many people have tried to share a page with 8 people and they've had to go through the user picker 8 times to find them. Yeah, it's a terrible experience, so we've made it better by adding groups so you can share your pages a little bit faster. And then another big thing, Confluence 5.2 came out earlier this month, and one of the things we tried to take on was search. We hear from you guys all the time that search just isn't quite good enough and you can't find what you need. We've taken that on in kind of 3 different ways in the latest release. And in 5.0, we launched the recently viewed dialog to make it easier to access your recently viewed pages. We wanted to make that more discoverable in 5.2. You click into Quick Nav and it loads a list of your most recently viewed pages. Typically what you're looking for is something you viewed yesterday, you just can't find it again. It's really annoying, but this is a way to kind of bring that up to the top. And then we've also improved the algorithm. So the algorithm, to be honest, wasn't great before. And so one of the things we've done is equalize the boosting. So Confluence actually used to boost shorter pages. It ranked shorter pages higher. We took that bias out and equalized everything, which also allowed us to improve our exact phrase matching. And so things are easier to find that way, and we've improved the relevance. So it's a lot smarter. If you're looking for stock options, Confluence will prioritize share options over lunch options or strategy options, for instance. So it's a lot smarter, so you can find things a little bit easier in Confluence now. And not only that, we improved the advanced search screen with filters, and these filters are instant. So when you search for something in Confluence, as I said, it comes back more relevantly, but also it brings you all the results, and then you can refine it with the filters on the left, and they're instant. So you click them, or you add in the author, and they change instantly without a page reload. So it's a lot faster, and it's just we've been trying to improve that search experience because it's really annoying to not be able to find the stuff you need. So that's everything that we've worked on in the past 4 months. We have a release coming soon in the next month, and these are some of the features that will be coming up. Blueprints is another one. How many people have shared a work-related link with their coworkers or team in an email? A lot, yeah. So do that all the time, and probably not safe for work or unrelated ones as well. But Confluence is, we're trying to internalize that process in Confluence with the shared links blueprint. Essentially, we want those conversations that happen in email, whether it's competitor news or a new library that you want to show your team, we want you to pull that into Confluence, put it in your space so that you can share it there, discuss it, and find it later. And maybe it's a jump start for a new idea, for a new feature you have, and you saw someone doing something cool. We want it to start there, and you can always link to it and do everything you normally do in Confluence, but that conversation starts in Confluence. So we're really excited about this blueprint, and the nice part about it is there's a bookmarklet to go along with it. And so if you're on TechCrunch and you find some competitor news, you click the bookmarklet and you can create the page from TechCrunch. You don't have to switch over to Confluence to make that happen. So we're really excited about that. Another one we redesigned in 5.0 with this new space sidebar, and you can see we have child pages of the current page as it is now. we wanted to give you the option of adding a page tree. So you not only see the child pages, but you know exactly where you are in the content hierarchy. So as a space admin, you can switch it, and you can get the page tree in the sidebar as well. Might be more helpful for you guys if you want to see the full hierarchy. Last one, how many system admins do we have in the house for Confluence? All right, so this has been a very long time voted feature. Sysadmins would probably not be surprised with how much people change their names, but you can rename users as of Confluence 5.3 at the end of the month, and then to take away a big pain point when your colleagues get married and they want their usernames to change, and probably what you've told them now is, I can't, or I have to delete you and start all over again. So this will make it a lot easier and hopefully eases a pain point for you sysadmins in the office.
Internal directory only or AD?
It's AD as well. Yeah, it should work with everything.
On the comment section for when users share,
Mm-hmm.
From a product perspective, do you guys track what kinds of things your users share? Like, what's your organizational position on it? Because do you treat it as email where you shouldn't be privy to what people are saying in the comment box? Or is there a core group of Atlassian folks who can see those comments and can say, this is the kind of stuff people are sharing?
We don't. Do you mean for the shared links blueprint? We don't track the kinds of things people share. No. Cool. So that's what's coming in the next month that we're really excited about, kind of pre-summit. And now I'll give you a little intro onto team calendars, just so I know how many people are familiar with team calendars. Okay, so not bad. A couple of things. So I feel like there's 5 things you need to know about team calendars. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's an add-on for Confluence that helps you track and manage your team leave, visualize your JIRA projects, and schedule team events within Confluence. And it's based on the premise that team planning is just really hard. Whether you're 5 or 50, it's just so hard to get everyone on the same page. And personal calendars don't really cut it. You kind of want one place to visualize everything. I also like to say it's great at avoiding the oh shit moment. And some of those moments might be you come into the office one day and Tom's not in. And you didn't know that he wasn't going to be in, and the things he needed to do aren't going to get done. Or your team doesn't really have a good idea when something's due. That kind of happens all the time. The slides are a little janky here, or both those things happen, and you're really out of luck. So team calendars is a way to visualize kind of those kinds of problems and prevent those kinds of moments from happening. The first thing you need to know about team calendars is we had a release on Tuesday. For a long time, team calendars was based on calendar types. And basically what that means is you had a people calendar to track leave and travel. You had a JIRA calendar to track your issues, sprints, and versions. And you had an events calendar to track generic team events. What we found is that actually made a lot of people follow a lot of different kinds of calendars. And you had to create a lot more calendars and subscribe to them to stay on the same page. It was hard for your whole team to stay focused. So we've kind of consolidated that and gone event types. So you can have a single calendar for your team or project and related event types. One thing that's been great for is our JIRA integration. So you can actually have different event types for your sprints, for your releases, your versions, and your issues, which is just a more visual way to break down the information you have in JIRA and show it on a calendar. Which leads me to point number 2. Deep JIRA integration. It's something we've focused on big time over the last year. And there's a number of different things that you can bring in, but what's really powerful is you can get really granular with what data you want to bring in. So using JQL, you can pull in exactly what you want from JIRA and display it on a calendar. And you can also visualize date ranges. So if you want to see how long an issue is supposed to take between its due date and its QA due date, you can do that. And you can see the length of time you kind of estimated that it would take on your calendar. This is kind of what an issue looks like in team calendars, and it gives you all the basic information, the issue key with a link to it, who's it assigned to, what is it an issue due date, or is it a custom field, and what's the status of it. And when they're resolved, they actually fade out on the calendar. So it's all kind of up to date in team calendars as your JIRA reads. And finally, you can reschedule your issues, sprints, and versions from team calendars with drag and drop. And it's really that simple, and it updates JIRA automatically. So it's something that's really exciting about Confluence. And like I said, you also have your releases. And you can jump to the summary, the view issues screen, or the release notes, and your sprints as well, and you can jump to your Agile board straight from Team Calendar. So we've really invested in JIRA integration, and we're excited about kind of the things we've been pumping out recently. The third point is the timeline view. So calendars are typically month, week, day view. Timeline view is a 3-month view on kind of an x-axis sort of look. So it gives you a way to quarterly plan and see your resources at a high level and be able to plan more efficiently. And then you can also zoom in and get down to the day or the week from the timeline view. It's a really effective way to see your schedules. Number 4, calendar mashups. So like I said, that oh shit moment, it's really good to mash up your team leave with the stuff you have going on in JIRA. Sprint planning, for instance, if you have 3 people out for your 2-week sprint, you might not get as much done. You can see that ahead of time and estimate a little bit better. And number 5, you can enhance your Confluence pages. So any team calendar you create can go on any Confluence page, which just makes your pages that much more rich and that much more focused. You can keep your deadlines as they're live and active. So if you were keeping deadlines as just plain text on your Confluence page, this is a little bit more live and up to date and makes it a bit more dynamic. So you keep the calendar up to date and the deadlines on your pages stay up to date. I'm missing some of the presentation, but I'll just end it there. Here, I'll give you a 2-minute, less visual spiel of what we have coming on next year. So we have a new product coming out for Confluence. This is the sneak peek part of the presentation, but you just get to listen instead of peek. So we have a product coming out next year, and ultimately we're asking ourselves a lot of questions. Confluence is one way to share knowledge, but there are a lot of different ways. And how can we connect people with questions to experts? How can we get experts out of the woodwork to help people share knowledge a little bit better? At that same time, Atlassian Answers, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Atlassian Answers, we have this external Q&A product where we have a really active community answering questions for our customers. We've been told by a number of you that I would love to have this alongside Confluence in my organization, where I have users that have questions and they want answers to these questions. And Confluence isn't necessarily the best way to leverage that. So we're building a product called Confluence Questions. And ultimately, it's an internal Q&A for your company. And the example that I'll give is basically you have a developer who comes in, she's really ready to go, excited to work, and she hits a snag. What does she do? Well, she could go ask her colleagues, she could interrupt everybody, or she goes to search in Confluence. She can't find exactly the answer. From there, she might be able to ask a question from the search screen, and that's kind of one of the integrations we'll provide. She asks the question, tags it as a Maven question. We have an expert on Maven who follows that topic. He gets a notification. Is everyone with me here? He gets a notification of her question. He comes in, answers a question. A few other people answer the question. It gets voted up, and she has her answer, and it's stored in Confluence Questions or in Confluence proper. And the next person that has that same question can come in, they search for it, they find the question and answer immediately, and the expert who answered the question only has to answer it once. So that's the new product that's coming out. It's going to be standalone off the side of Confluence with very deep integration with Confluence so you can run them together. And the timing on that is the beta will come out around Summit in October, and we're looking to ship in January of next year. If you're interested in trying this out or being part of our beta program, go to atlassian.com/CQbeta if you're interested, and sign up, and you can register as part of our beta program to test it out. Thanks very much for listening, guys. I know it was a lot. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Before I would like to call for our sponsors, today we have one very special guest here. I would like to get Scott, Atlassian founder here. He's here. So I'd like to get him on.
How long did I run?
So my dog ate my slides too. You're right.
No, you can just talk about that Atlassian Summit or anything that more.
No, I just want to welcome everyone to the use group. Appreciate you coming. in about 23 working days. So in 5 or 6 weeks, we have our annual Atlassian User Summit that we hold about a mile from here in the, I guess, the old train center. What's it called? The design concourse. And we hold, it's about 2,000 people come to the user conference. So if you like what you hear today, we have a whole bunch of product announcements that we'll be doing, a whole bunch of breakout sessions where you get to, sort of hear what we do internally. A lot of people sort of find that, hey, Atlassian has some good development practices. How do we kind of take the best from what we do and from other customers do? We have tracks on each of these products and the product roadmaps and what we've released. So if you don't have time to read our blogs and kind of read our release notes and really involve yourself in what our feature roadmaps are, that's a really good opportunity to spend an intense sort of 1 or 2 days and get up to speed with that product. So we really encourage you to come to the user conference. We subsidize it heavily, and it's a really kind of a great event for you to meet other people in our community and learn from Atlassian. So hope to see you there.
Thank you, Scott. So now I would love to get our sponsor, C Prime. Asha, would you come here and talk about the news?
Hi everyone. Thanks so much for coming out here. We provided you with a very delicious pizza today. So, but just kind of piggybacking off of the summit, we're going to be there. We're actually going to be teaching 3 of the courses: the JIRA workflow, Agile in practice with JIRA Agile, as well as advanced Bamboo. So we'd love to see you there. We are also have 20% off if you haven't signed up for Summit yet. We have a little coupon code that you can use for ours as well. So I'll leave it out there for you guys to grab before you leave. We're really building out our tools practice. We're definitely an Agile best practices firm as well, but we have a lot going on in the tool space in terms of configuration and JIRA as well as JIRA Agile, which sorry just changed. Sorry for calling Green Helper in advance, as well as a lot of the dev products. So if you're interested in that, I'd love to maybe connect you guys with some of our experts, and you guys can talk a little bit more about some of the trainings that we have going on as well, and maybe some demos if you're interested too. So that's it from my end.
Thank you. For all the drinks, we can thanks to Francis. Francis, for
Besides providing beer, we have 3 products that integrate with JIRA, Confluence, and Bamboo. And proud to say that we have the #2 overall grossing product on the marketplace, separate for JIRA. If you guys haven't had a chance to give it a test drive, feel free, or ask me any questions. I'm happy to answer.